Wall Street Bets has moved from an obscure corner of Reddit to the front page of the New York Times online edition. Their headline, GameStop's stock continues to soar as small traders team up against big institutions. But now it seems that based on some of the trading volume, that some institutions are getting in on the action. GameStop probably should be out of business. However, it's now more than a $20 billion company, hitting $380 a share today, with people like Chamath Palihapitiya and Elon Musk jumping this rocket ship. I know what you're thinking. What in the world are the dumb money guys doing? Well, today on Dumb Money, we will tell you. It's the short squeeze of the century, but where can it go now that the Billionaire Investment Club has arrived?
This is Dumb Money Live with Chris Camillo, Dave Hansen, and Jordan McLean, streaming live on YouTube. We are Dumb Money.
Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. Actually, Diamond Hands Camillo and Tendy McLean is what we're going to call them today. We are Dumb Money. This is Dumb Money Live, YOLO edition. We are a trio of Gen Xers acting like Zoomers. We turned a few $1,000 into more than $30 million. And today, we are all over Wall Street Bets. We're also YouTubers, and they will kick us off of that platform if we don't tell you to tap the like button. So please do that now. Help keep us on the air, please. Thank you. So let's talk about GameStop, GameStonk, the company that lost $470 million in 2019, and then a pandemic forced them to close 300 locations. And even without that, there really doesn't seem to be any need for a retail store to distribute a downloadable product. But as such, in April, their stock was trading for a mere $3.25. Enter Ryan Cohen, some GameStop. GameStop basically became a cult stock on Wall Street Bets, and today they hit $380 a share. So Chris, Jordan, I hope you're wearing your liftoff diapers. Where does it go from here?
How did it get here? Can we start right there? Because I know so many people have been pinging me all morning, just getting into this storyline today. They haven't been here all week or for the Wall Street bettors for the last 2 years, because that's how long this has been going on. Yep. This whole concept of squeezing GameStop, right? The short squeeze. Today we're going to talk about how they're shorting GameStop, the elements of the short squeeze, option expirations coming up this Friday, all the possibilities if we think it can get to 1,000 in this situation, or if we think we're going to have a kind of deflation of the momentum trade. First of all, guys, I think there's not one theme here. There's not one strategy that people are using on this GameStop trade. You have the Wall Street bettors who are, in some respects, pumping the stock, hoping for a short squeeze, right? 130% of the GameStop float is short, meaning that at some point, someone needs to buy those shares back, right? And they're like, we're not selling you our shares. We're going to pump this stock up so high that you're going to be forced to pay $1,000 a share. That's been the whole thing. We're going to make you pay $1,000 a share for a $5 stock if you want to buy your stock. We're going to bankrupt the institutions. And that's the other side of this trade. Is it's an anti-establishment spite trade. Have you guys been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm this year? Remember the Spite Store?
I haven't
Dude,
watched this.
Oh my God!
I'm so behind.
Talking about the coffee shop, the Spite coffee shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a spite trade for so many people. I've seen so many comments on Wall Street Bets. People are like, "Hey, I'm in it. I'm in it just to help the cause, the anti-establishment cause. Let's bankrupt these institutions." Now, I'm not necessarily in on that cause, but you have momentum traders, you have the spite traders, the anti-establishment traders. You also have you really also have people that are just kind of observing, and they're just FOMO. They don't even know what they're doing. They just want to get in these trades, right? They just want to be part of it. For me, it's irrelevant. My trade on all of the Wall Street Bet stocks, on GameStop, on AMC, there's some other ones. By the way, we're in some other ones that really aren't widely being discussed yet. Doesn't matter if it's Nokia, BlackBerry. My trade on all of them, I was in Express yesterday, is an expansion of the long trade, right? The investable base for the long trade across all of these short squeeze tickers. And what I mean by that is it started on Wall Street Bets. It has since expanded to StockTwits and to Twitter and to FinTwit and to active traders. It then expanded beyond that universe to guys that are doing YouTube shows like us. You'll see probably hundreds of YouTube shows today and tomorrow on the GameStop Wall Street Bets trade, right? That's expanding the number of eyeballs that are seeing this event from a couple million to tens of millions. It's now hitting mainstream media. Yesterday you had Chamath, one of the world's most eccentric billionaires, basically tweeting that he's in on the trade, okay? That adds pressure. Last night you had the ultimate whale. The ultimate whale. It doesn't get bigger. You have Elon Musk tweeting out the Discord channel, right? And Dave, what did that tweet look like? He essentially just tweeted out
just one
GameStonk.
word. It was GameStonks! Exclamation point, I believe.
With a link to Wall Street Bets, by the way.
A link to Wall Street Bets. Then he was in, I believe he was in the Discord community for Wall Street Bets late last night. I was up at, 2:30 my time, 3:30 Eastern, and he was in there tweeting popcorn for AMC. Like, I believe, unless that was a fake, and I can't substantiate it, but I think he tweeted about it afterwards. So, guys, what's happening? This is a traditional, it's turned into a traditional social arb trade here.
Yeah.
We are essentially, for those of y'all that don't know us, we're social arb traders. We identify change early. We enter an investment when we believe there's an information imbalance, meaning there's something that's happening that's going to have an impact on the market, a sector, or an individual stock that the world of investors hasn't really fully appreciated yet.
And we had detected this whole Wall Street Bets change long ago, even though it's been around for a while. It started gaining momentum a year or so ago, and we've been kind of watching it. But this is the first time we've seen it make such a dramatic jump from, kind of obscurity where, there were people who were making money, pumping up these stocks and moving them, but it was not this kind of dramatic, like this many people getting involved. And it literally, people are texting about, like, when was the last time you received a text about GameStop from anyone?
100 people in the last 24 hours have texted me about GameStop. It's insane. They all want to know what we're doing because we were in this trade. I was in this trade pretty big last week. I got out of it. I got in it really heavy on Monday morning. Actually, the heaviest piece of the trade for me was AMC. I have 100,000 shares of AMC I bought at $3 a share, roughly. This morning, I woke up and they were valued at $2.3 million. I announced on Twitter I'm donating the entire AMC, all my AMC shares to pediatric charities through my foundation. I started that transfer about 2 hours ago. Now, here's what's really tricky. I cannot sell those shares, guys, until the transfer is complete from my brokerage account to the foundation's account, because otherwise I have to pay like $500,000 in taxes. I don't know, that would just be a waste. It'd be less money for charity. So I'm transferring the shares to the charitable foundation. Then I will exit the position. Then I, with the rest of the allocation that I have in that foundation, I start the disbursements to charity. But that's what I'm doing. I'm hoping hey, Chamath, if you're watching, if you hear about this, get on board, right? Get on board. Would you please donate? He does not need the money he makes off of this trade, right? He doesn't need that. He's a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire. So maybe he'll join me in making a donation of all of his proceeds on this trade.
There's a rumor going around on our chat that he is going to donate the proceeds.
That's awesome.
Totally
That's
unconfirmed.
awesome.
It's just kind of what I've been seeing in the chat, but maybe he is.
You know what's so cool? I would do this anyway, but I think what's really cool is that we're here on YouTube, we're creators, and there is a little mini movement happening right now that was, I think, started by Mr. Beast. Dave, you know Mr. He's one of your favorites, right? And Mr. Beast is so philanthropic. I try to preach to my kids to do the right thing and to think about charity. Every dollar that my kids earn, they have to take 25% of it and put it in a box for doing something for someone else, right? And so I'm like struggling to get them to like mentally build that into their, like the way that they think in life. And it's been a struggle. Like they don't really care about that much. All of a sudden, the last few months, my daughter's been coming to me and she's like, Dad, I want to donate everything I have to charity. I'm like, what? And my son is like, you know what my kids asked for Christmas? They wanted to do a donation match with Santa. So they say like, can we donate, if we donate X amount of money, you think Santa will match us? And they're literally emptying out not just their charitable money, but they're spending money to charity.
Wow.
I'm like, what's going on? Do you know where it's coming from?
It's a real
Mr. Beast.
movement.
Mr.
Yeah.
Beast. It's coming
Yep.
from Mr. They watch
His
Mr.
whole
Beast.
his whole
and they're
thing.
inspired.
He makes money to be able to invest into bigger videos, to be able to then make more money to be able to invest in bigger videos. But his whole goal at the end of this thing is to open up like basically food shelters around the country and maybe the world. And I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to have a huge impact, and it all starts with like his ability to get an audience engaged, and he's just an amazing creator who's then turned into an amazing philanthropist.
Hey, I love it. Even though my daughter will say, "You're the worst dad ever. I hate you. You're terrible." And then 5 minutes later, she's like, "You know who's a good person? Mr. Beast. He's a good person." I'm like, I'm donating everything I make to. Like, it doesn't matter. And listen, I love it that he's out there doing that because he's having such an impact on my kids. And I'm not going to have any impact on my kids. I know that. But maybe I can have an impact on someone else's kids. I have no idea. So it's cool that this all goes towards something great. But let's talk about the trade here, guys.
And for GameStop specifically, is the trade over? Where is it going from here? How big could this thing go? Or do we need to go back and just remind people how we even got to this point? Basically that what's his name? Ryan Cohen is an investor. He's the founder of Chewy, the pet store, the pet food company, and he bought like 13% of the company. And he was attacking publicly the CEO of GameStop, and he got 2 of his people in on the board, and the stock jumped 50%, and that basically started this whole wave of it becoming a cult stock with Wall Street bets. And then institutions were starting to short the company because, like, why would this thing be going up? And then Wall Street Bets is like doubling down on that. And so his shares are now worth several billion. I don't know how much money he had before, but he has made several $1 billion just off of this whole GameStop thing.
And then remember Michael Burry, the Big Short. He was, he's kind of a eccentric guy, and he was heavy into GameStop this last year as well. Yeah. But listen, Dave, this story started in 2019. Wall Street Bets has been rallying around the GameStop narrative for a long time, the short squeeze for a long time. Those guys just added credibility and validation to it the same way that Elon did, and now Chamath, right, yesterday. So the question is, how does this actually mechanically work? And I've been thinking about this, nothing but this for the most part, for the past 6 days.
Yeah.
You have 130% short position. It's actually 140%. I think it dropped a few percentage points over the last couple days. What's happening is even shorts that are theoretically covering, there are new shorts coming in at higher levels, so the short position is maintaining. Now, we saw what happened with Melvin Capital, one of the most prolific hedge funds on Wall Street the last 5 years. They were a spin-off from Point72, had worked for Steve Cohen, the guy that runs that fund, did killer returns the last 5 years, one of the absolute all-star. He got in way over his head. He has puts on all these companies, and it's assumed that he's heavily shorting all these companies because he needed a bailout from Citadel and Point72, who are general partners in the fund. They gave him about $2.8 billion, 2 days ago, to bail him out of these short positions in exchange for an increased general partnership points in his fund. So basically, a big chunk of all the money he's going to make going forward is going into Steve Cohen's pocket, which is that's just how it works. It's like the show Billions, right?
Yeah.
But there are still so many shorts in this trade, they have to buy these shares. So this is an actual war of whales. It's a war of whales. Who can hold out the longest? Because these guys on Wall Street Bets, and a lot of the people backing them up now, guys like, do you think Chamath needs to sell his shares in GameStop? Do you think he can't hold in there for a year or 2 or 10 years? Right? Do you think now that some of these Chinese investors are getting involved, and that's a lot of the buzz the last 2 days?
Was it Chris? I thought Chamath was an options play.
Well, he published an options trade to Twitter.
Yeah.
But I don't know that was a huge position. Obviously, it's very small for him. But I think that
he bought like a few. The whole thing with Chamath is he came out. I saw the tweet. It was like, hey, I've got $200,000 to spend today on somebody convinced me what to do, and apparently he was convinced to play an option trade on.
He's just He's all about the promo.
That's what it looked like happened.
Yeah, he's just trying to figure out how he gets max coverage out of his decision. Sure. I mean, that guy is like he'd be starting a carnival in the 1920s. He's awesome though. But yes, Jordan, he did buy options, but who knows where he is? Who knows if he's going to take those options and exercise them, right, and hold them? Bottom line is he's in now. He's in this trade.
People are saying that he sold. People are saying that he said on CNBC that he sold.
I'm
not watching the CNBC, so I don't know what he actually said, but that's the rumor that I'm hearing.
Okay, I don't know. There are a lot of, forget about him for a second. I'm in the trade, meaning there are millions of other people outside the Wall Street Bets community that are in the trade all around the world.
And
There
you were
are
talking
guys
about
in,
that float thing. I had something that you had shared earlier. This chart showing a bunch of the tickers that are short right now, and specifically that are a part of that fund, right?
Yes. Okay. So and Crockett says that he is out. So yeah, Melvin Capital. People are targeting the stocks in his fund because he is representative of the old guard Wall Street, right? And especially now that Point 72 and Citadel are taking a bigger stake in his fund and backing the trade. Now we have the deepest pockets in Wall Street that people are trying to mess with. Now there's also a counter argument that the more they mess with them through all these derivatives, the better it is for these funds, right? Because they're essentially owning more of his fund. Citadel's one of the biggest market makers in the world. They're making money on every one of these trades, right? So that said, yes, something has to happen. The trade needs to be unwound on one end or the other, and we don't know how big this is going to get because there could be 10 other billionaires on this trade that we don't know about in China, anywhere, out of Russia. And you know something, guys? This is becoming an experiential trade, meaning people want to get in this trade for the experience. They want to see what happens. They want to see the degree that they could literally destroy one of the biggest funds in the world, maybe multiple funds. They want to mess with other billionaires. It's fun. It's crazy. It's psychotic. But you know what?
Note, Chris, I want to say something about, I've got about 100 reasons that I'm actually not participating in any of these things and probably will not. But on the more depressing note, and I don't want to be too depressing here, but I was, just kind of diving back into history on what's happened with some of these before. And on the Infinity squeeze with Volkswagen in 2008, there were some people that killed themselves because they lost everything, right? And so I just, when you're doing this stuff and you're wanting to stick it to somebody, just remember there are real people's lives involved. They knew what they were getting into, right? So, they've got to own their own decisions too. But it's not all fun and games here. It's also
it's not all fun and games for sure, right? And the reality is, if you're someone that has a short position that isn't protected, you're the type of person that's doing extreme things, right? Extreme things with your money, right? And so it could be in Vegas, it could be betting on the Super Bowl. In this case, you're not only betting your money, here's the problem, Jordan, you're betting other people's money, all right? So these fund managers, they win if they win. They win when they lose. They still get their management fees. If they lose, the fund blows up. They just walk away. The only people that lose money are their investors, pension funds, okay? Retirement accounts. All around the world are investing billions of dollars in these funds. And when they do irresponsible things and don't take risk management seriously, and I'm not saying that they did that, but in the event that funds do that and blow up, that's on them, okay? That's on them.
I'm just saying there are consequences to all this stuff. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but some people are going to be down and out because of it. Now, I don't want to pile on to stuff like this. It's not what I am here for, right? I'm here to invest and to make money and to learn. But this is maybe a necessary part of what happens in markets. But I don't want to be a part of it.
It's 1,000% necessary because if this will always happen, it's just a matter of it has to happen for people to learn from it and then for everyone to adjust to it. So what happens is when this doesn't happen, it happens on a larger scale. Meaning when people don't learn the consequences of having a naked short position or a short position that's not coverable, then you're going to get more of these. And instead of having one fund blow up, you have 100 funds blow up 10 years from now, right? So that's the beauty of markets. Markets educate themselves. Markets correct themselves. People walk away smarter, and the markets just naturally work that way. That's the beauty behind of market. Yes, people are always going to make mistakes. What's fascinating to me is the mistakes. You can see them being made by retail traders, These types of mistakes should not be made by institutions that manage other people's money and other people's pensions. Okay.
Well, no, it's not
They
just
should
that
not.
though, right? But like, look, it's not just so people. And I see people commenting and saying like, "Oh, well, it's the hedge funds that are the moral." I'm not really looking at that, but there are individuals who went short on this thing too, and I think, a lot of these people might not, understand that you can protect your short position in certain ways. I'm just saying that there are consequences when this type of thing happens. Some people are going to benefit from it, and some people are going to, have some really dire consequences. And I just, like I said, I'm not going to be a part of it. But I'm not judging anybody else for buying because they're wanting to get in on the frenzy. It's just not my thing.
And it really is a frenzy. And you were alluding to, people just wanting to be in it because it's kind of an experiential trade of a lifetime. I thought it was funny. I saw Ramp Capital yesterday tweeted this: "Screw it, I'm buying one share of GME in case it goes to $1,000." And then right after that, "Screw it, I'm shorting one share in case it goes to zero." And I thought that was just like kind of, It put all of this into perspective. Basically, this is just a game at this point. It is a game stock, and there's no reason other than, people piling on that this thing is going up. And I just think it is a huge learning opportunity for new people in the market to kind of even know how things work and to think about the mechanics of what forces an institution to make a trade and what power you have as an individual investor.
I'll tell you the biggest thing that I've learned from this, and it's not much because it's what I've already known. I don't short individual stocks, right? And so this is an extreme of what can happen when you short individual stocks and you don't protect that position.
Well, here's the thing, and let's explain what we mean by protecting position. It's very easy to protect your position when you're shorting a stock. You simply buy calls that are out of the money so that you're capping your losses, right? So if you short a stock that's trading at $20, like GameStop, you buy calls at $30. So in case the stock goes up 50%, the worst situation is you're going to lose 50% of your investment, right? It's going to get to 30. You have to buy the stock back at $30 a share that you now sold to someone else at $20 a share. You have to buy them at some point to cover yourself. And so you lose 50% on your investment, right? Hedge funds know how to do that. Institutional investors know how to do that. Retail investors should not be shorting stocks unless you understand the repercussions of shorting a stock and how dangerous it is and how to protect yourself on those trades. Now, that said, you're going to have your own ethical beliefs. Jordan has really a valid ethical standpoint on why he's not interested. Jordan, there are also stocks in the past I know that you have had no interest in investing in because you did not believe that those are companies you want to be affiliated with. I take somewhat of a different stance, but I totally respect your angle. It's a valid angle, right? Because if you invest in companies that are in sectors that you don't believe in, whether it's tobacco or other areas, that technically supports the underlying the underlying valuation of that company and allows them to raise money, which is a net positive for the company. I feel differently, but I get it. But what happens, regardless of our own ethical beliefs, what do we think happens here? There are a couple things that could happen. One, again, the reason why I am trading this is because I believe there's a massive expansion of the long investor base here. We don't see them. We don't know who they are. You never will know who they are. If I wasn't here on YouTube, you wouldn't know that I had 7 figures in GameStop, which, by the way, is almost 1/10 of 1% of the company. That's how insane that is, right? Like it's like, I don't know, isn't it like half of 1/10 of 1% of the company? Basically $1.5 million. If you look, I did the math last night. You wouldn't know it. There could be thousands of other people like me with 7 figures in. There could be billionaires that just don't care. And this thing has gotten so big, it's global. It's a global story now, and people want to see how hard they can push it. And it's unprecedented. There is no playbook for what's about to happen the next few days. GameStop can potentially go to $1,000 a share, or the entire stock can deflate if people start to get weak hands and they think, you know what, I'm up 10x, I'm up 15x of my investment. I had 10 grand in my brokerage account, now I have $150,000. what am I doing to make another $150,000? And they start selling, and what happens? It spirals, right? It spirals and spirals, and these things deflate like Volkswagen did.
And meanwhile, you may or may not even have that money because you can't access it because it's all halted right now, or at least it was. I mean, we keep getting GME halted, AMC halted.
It looks like everything's trading right now.
Yeah, listen, I can't watch it because it does bring me a lot of anxiety because at this point, it's not my money anymore. It's money that's going to pediatric leukemia causes and stuff. So, and I can't sell it until the transfer goes through. I have put in a request with my guy at TD Ameritrade to expedite that transfer for me. So I really hope, Joe, if you're watching, please, if anyone from Ameritrade is watching, please get that transfer of my AMC shares into the foundation's account so I can sell it. I am very happy to sell at these levels. It's a 7-figure sum for the charities, and it's something that I hope I can do today. You know, maybe I'll get lucky and I won't do it and it will blow up more tomorrow. At this point, guys, for AMC, there's no playbook though, but GameStop.
There is a playbook, Chris. We know exactly what the playbook is. Is it done going up? We don't know that portion, but we do know that it'll come crashing down, right? So we know that in the very end, this thing will come crashing back down. It's just, where does it go between now and then? Is it going to go up again? Maybe. Is it going to
in
crash
WSB parlance, someone's going to be a bag holder on this.
Someone is going to be a bag holder.
Right.
Who is it going to be? I don't want it to be.
It kind of depends on when you get in and when you get out, and that's kind of the way the market works, right? And
but when does that happen, guys? And what I mean by no playbook, Jordan, is there has never been a time in our history in the market where we have had socially connected communities connecting tens, if not hundreds of millions of traders around the world around a central cause where you had a cause and an effect, and people realize that, you know what? They'll never be able to get out of this if we keep buying. That's never happened before. It's like all the hedge funds in the world colluding with each other, right? And so it's fascinating to watch that. We don't know the repercussions for neither this trade or trades in the future, like GameStop, because now that people know they have this power, okay, this power to communicate with millions of people on Reddit and StockTwits and Twitter and Discord channels, and they see the volume of conversation. If you personally see 1,000 people saying, I am not selling tomorrow, I am actually doubling down on my position in the morning, you're feeling pretty confident. You're like, you know what? This thing's going to the moon. It's going deep space, okay? I'm doubling my position in the morning. And that's how the frenzy happens, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm spending a lot of time on Wall Street Bets. I'm spending a lot of time in these Discord communities trying to get a gut sense.
You didn't sleep last night. You literally were on.
I did sleep. I slept 3 hours.
From 4 a.m. until 7 a.m.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get a gut instinct of, is this thing getting bigger? Or is it starting to deflate? Because in the only way you'll really understand that, and Jordan, you've been building out some data tools, I know there's some other tools like it, to basically get a sense for, is there an increasing conversation around each of these tickers on Reddit and Wall Street Bets, or is it flatlining, or is there a decrease? Have you been
flatlining. I mean, it's all, GME, BB, AMC, Nokia are the top, and that's all people are talking about on WSB, it seems like.
And those have all just had this huge run up. And then we were talking about that the other day, looking for the undercurrent of what might come next.
But guys, what can deflate it? There are so many things that deflate it. Let me give you a few examples of what can deflate it. Let me give you an example of
what can deflate it. When people can't trade on Robinhood or on TD Ameritrade or on Charles Schwab, and all of a sudden this thing deflates because people can't even get their orders in, right?
You can't sell it either.
Another huge issue.
Yeah. By the way, we're going to have a whole separate episode on that because Dave. Oh, that's different. Okay,
it's a different topic, but yes,
that could make the same.
Okay, but there's so many other things, Jordan. A capital raise by GameStop or AMC will deflate it. A warning by one of the major investors, like I know Michael Burry came out and said he does not agree with what's happening with GameStop.
Right.
But people are kind of blowing him off. But what if Ryan comes out and says that? What if Chamath comes out and says, you know what, this is ridiculous. You guys are going to lose all of your money. What if Elon says that? You guys, this has gotten to a point where you don't realize people are going to get burned here. Like, what if they come out and start really painting a picture of this needs to end, or if someone who is with the company like Ryan says, you know what, this has gotten out of control. GameStop can come out and be like, our company, it's not worth this much. It doesn't make sense. We can't control it. People should stop buying our stock. They're going to get slaughtered. There are so many things that could happen here, okay, to kind of deflate this whole momentum trade that we're seeing right now. And it could happen any second, any minute of the day, it could happen. By the way, one of the big Wall Street bet guys, he has been deep effing value. We talked about this yesterday. That's his name. It's not effing. It's worse, right? But deep effing value. He has turned $50,000 as of last night to $23 million on this single GameStop trade. Okay, and he is posting his brokerage account. He's posting it on Wall Street Bets pretty much every day. So what happens tonight if he posts, "I'm out. I sold out, guys. Sorry, I had to take my money at some point."
Yeah.
That will crush this trade. It will deflate.
Or I took my money and moved on to the next one, and then the money shifts from one to the next.
The money shifts, right? There are people that are so influential right now, and I was on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is this new audio social network that kind of popped up the last few months, and I was on there for 2.5 hours with Jason from Benzinga hosting a talk yesterday about GameStop. And what we talked about was the legal repercussions, right? The legalities. Is the SEC going to come crack down? I wouldn't be surprised to see them make an example of one or two people that were really leading the pump on this, guys like him, right? So this could deflate in so many different ways. And if you're an investor and by the way, guys, we haven't said it yet. We are not financial advisors. We're not licensed. We don't want anyone to follow our trades. We don't pump stocks. We just tell you, this is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it. Jordan's doing something very different from me, as is Dave. Yeah. We have slightly different approaches to risk tolerance. We don't know your risk tolerance. This is about how we surface opportunities and how we vet those opportunities and how we poke holes in each other's hypotheses around each of these trades. So I have an hypothesis. My hypothesis is, as long as this universe continues to expand, I will continue to look for opportunities. Now, AMC is different because I made a decision to donate that one to charity. I feel like it's gotten too big. I don't want to have $2 million in AMC or $1.6 million. That's ridiculous. It's a theater chain. I might never go to a movie again, by the way. I might never actually leave my house to see a movie.
The same thing with GameStop. Why would you ever go to a store to rent something that you can download? The same movie theater. Anything that has been replaced by technology just doesn't seem like a good investment, although I am investing in some of these. I bought 2 of them this morning, the ones that haven't yet bubbled up. Just like, what if it's the next one? That's it. I'm not thinking that.
By the way, I don't think National Beverage is a terrible investment. This is not LaCroix, but I do love me a good LaCroix.
Okay, so Jordan's talking about some of the other tickers that we got into, and we'll discuss them. By the way, guys, we have so many viewers. If you're watching for the first time, you might not know our background. dumbmoney.tv, you can learn everything you want to learn about us. We have 2 channels. We actually traded and made $25 million in the market last year, the 3 of us, just trading trends, just social arbing the world. That's it. We try to identify change early. We identify change, we connect the change to investable opportunities, and we trade it. That's it. That's all we do. And we exit these trades at the moment they reach information parity. That's at that point that the entire world has full access to the information that we're trading. I think right now, quite honestly, people don't realize the degree to which the long base in these stocks is expanding. They can't expand forever.
That is the one little edge that we have, is we basically have a theory that the market hasn't yet appreciated how big this could be. But we don't have any grand insight into what's going on in Wall Street Bets. We just know that it's probably bigger than Wall Street itself realizes.
Because it's not Wall Street Bets. It's the entire universe of investors right now. That's why. This is not a Wall Street Bet story anymore. Okay? By the way, so Fizz is American Beverage Corp. It's a company we traded numerous times over the past 9 years, guys. It was actually one of my first social arb trades. When LaCroix first came onto the market, we identified a massive uptick in social conversation around the word LaCroix. We actually had tool sets to do this, our old company Ticker Tags. We monitored social media for hedge funds and quant funds. And we, many years ago, made a massive investment in American Beverage Corp very early on. It was like, I don't know, $15 stock. Rode it, up to 100 plus. Have exited that investment exited quite a while ago, guys. It was a long time ago. And now I'm back in Fizz. Why? Fizz, American Beverage Corp, they're one of a handful of companies that is being
National
shorted.
Beverage.
National
right?
Beverage, excuse
Yeah.
me, National Beverage Corp. And they basically only make LaCroix. They have a few other like Fanta and random sodas that have been
They don't just make it.
downtrending
They
for
pretty
years.
much they put flavored seltzer on the map for everybody.
They were the original, right? And they're owned by a super weird old dude out of Florida. Super weird, that he is so weird, so eccentric, and so wild with his earnings reports. Very political guy that Wall Street won't touch him, right? So basically, Wall Street will not invest in this company. They consider it uninvestable because he's a majority owner, and they have no idea he could just shut down the whole company tomorrow, and it wouldn't really surprise anyone. But this is one of a handful of companies that was being shorted, or with puts at least, because we don't know for sure that Melvin was shorting companies. We know they were buying puts. They don't have to disclose their short positions, just their put positions. But it was being shorted or putted by Melvin Capital. So this company has a target on its back, yet this is probably one of the least discussed, I would say, short trades out there. The stock is moving. It's up like 40% in the last few days, but it's not up 400%, right? So, I picked some up. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I figure if this trade continues to move from one to another, people are going to continue to look for opportunities.
Yeah.
Fizz it's one of those stocks. It's one of the opportunities, right?
It's one of the opportunities. And what's the other one that you had me? We talked like 30 minutes before we started the show, and I immediately got on and started buying a couple of these. What was the other one?
Oh my God! Now this one's ridiculous.
The
This
headphone
one,
maker?
it's
right?
KOSS. It's KOSS.
KOSS.
It's a headphone maker, and here's why KOSS is going up. I almost bought KOSS at like $5 a couple days ago.
It's
I
up
didn't.
1,000% since what day is this? January 25th. That was 2
Absolutely
days ago.
ridiculous. This is like being in a casino and just rolling the dice. It's a micro cap stock. I have no idea what's going to happen. I actually bought a small amount of this just for fun, but it's a ridiculous move. I mean, that this thing could collapse by 80% in 5 minutes. Guys, these are such dangerous speculative trades. If you're investing in any of these trades right now, you're essentially in Vegas, and you just want to be part of a big social experiment. And hey, if
This
you
is the
want
YOLO trade. That's it. It's a YOLO trade. And
It's
I'm
worse
in
than
on this
that.
one and that other one.
It's a social. I'll tell you, it's a social experiment trade. If you're
Yes.
in any of these this week, you want to be part of a social experiment, and there's a good chance you're going to lose all your money. Like that. That's just the bottom line. There's probably an equal chance you'll double your money. It's so ridiculous, but.
And here's the chart for
I can-
AMC. I didn't put that on the screen yet. Look at that, up 400% since the 26th, yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know how much more juice is left. AMC is not a company I want to own, period, at $3. I don't want them at $3. I don't want, outside of this social experiment, outside of this environment where I'm investing based on just a massive expansion of the investor base, I have no interest. So as soon as that expansion starts to level out, and that's the thing, guys, as soon as it starts to level out, and I know that the Wall Street Bets crowd, and I've been having some arguments with them, they're like, it doesn't matter as long as the short float is bigger than the long float, right? Like, I think as soon as I start to see a leveling out of the expansion of interest in these names, I'm going to start to pull out of these positions, period, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that happens pretty quickly. I don't know if it's a matter of hours or a matter of days, but I would imagine that's going to happen over the next few days. Going into the weekend, it will get really interesting, guys, because how many people want to take profits? Again, if you're a small-time trader, you had $5,000, now you have $50,000 in your account because you're in one or two of these. Do you really want to roll the dice with that over the weekend? Or do you want to say, you know what, I'm going to pull out half? I think a lot of people end up pulling out some portion of their gains. Maybe not all, some portion of them, sometime between now and market close on Friday. So at some point, I think the shorts are going to have an opportunity to kind of help push this down when people start to spiral and want to take profits. And then you get nervous because you're like, wait a second, my 50K is down to 30K. Should I sell out right now? And that's when it starts to spiral. That is the psychological element, the reverse of a short squeeze, when you've made so much money in a stock and you just want to start to pull out your gains, okay? I don't know when that's going to happen. Wall Street Bets doesn't want to talk about that. They're like, we got diamond hands. Hey, I joked on Twitter. I called myself Diamond Hands Camilo as a joke. The truth is,
No,
I don't
people are
have
saying
diamond
you got
hands.
paper hands now.
I don't care. I'm gonna do the best thing for me. Okay, I'm gonna watch this ARB play out, and the second that I think we start to see any type of leveling out of the investor base, meaning there aren't new people coming in, there aren't people that are continuing to increase their level of being amped up, that this is going into deep space. As soon as I start to see people getting a little bit nervous, I'm going to start to pull out myself, guys, because we know where it's going. Jordan, you were right. It's just a matter of when, not if, right? GameStop is not a $300 stock. It's not a $20 billion
the
company.
end is written. It's the middle pages. It's still, we don't know what's going to happen.
Correct. So,
I was just
listen,
following along in our comments, and apparently Chamath is on CNBC right now, and people say that he is just killing it. Do we want to listen in a little bit and maybe comment
yes.
on this?
Put him on. I'd love
see
to
if-
hear him.
Taxes are
Absolutely.
the highest
Can you hear
of any
that?
state.
Yes.
Our air quality is the worst of any state. And so this is a
Oh, he's
state
just
that I think
doing
is
his
just
running
so
for governor now
absolutely
for
incredible,
California.
but right now is being run off the rails.
Wait, how does
And
TD
to the
Ameritrade
extent that
crack
we can
down on
recall them-
GameStop trades? How can they? Like, what do you
Somebody
mean
was
crack?
saying that they're like restricting.
I
trade,
did.
but
I saw
mean,
that too. I have not experienced it in my brokerage account. I'm at Schwab, and I did have some trouble placing a trade, but it seemed to be just because they had so much traffic.
So that kind of pisses me off because I'll tell you, I did exit half of my GameStop call position today. Right, my GameStop, I had 20 contracts that I purchased, $70 calls when it was at $70 a share, roughly. I purchased 20 contracts for about $25,000, I think, is what I paid. I don't know, $26,000. Though that has grown now to $600,000, something like that, $600,000. So I exited half of that position this morning, and it took me like an hour to exit it. I kept hitting over and over again, sell, sell, sell. I eventually called my guy at TD Ameritrade, and I said, what the hell is going on? Like, I am putting my order in right at the intrinsic value or slightly under. And what that means, guys, is when you have an option, that option has an intrinsic value, meaning if I have the right to purchase GameStop at $70 a share and it's trading at $270, that has an intrinsic value of $200. Now, it might have an additional $40 of value, what they call premium, to own that option. But I was putting it in just under the intrinsic value. It should have went through every time. It didn't. I called my guy. He's like, Chris, I don't know what to tell you. It's just, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Why are you investing in GameStop? I'm like, I'm already in GameStop. I'm trying to exit my GameStop. I'm like, don't question my trade.
Yeah.
I'm trying to exit my GameStop. I can't, you guys won't let me do it. And finally, I kept trying. On about the 20th time, randomly it went through. So I do think they're putting some type of limiter on GameStop trades. It's weird, and I don't like it.
No,
honestly.
It's not good. Well, I did just find a clip from that CNBC that just finished airing. They just said goodbye to him, but I already have a clip of him being asked about the integrity of the system when a stock can jump up this fast. And it's like a 2-minute clip. Let's just listen to this.
Okay, and then I have a message from TD Ameritrade. I will read to you. I just got on TD so go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
The lack of integrity in the system is the precursor that caused GameStop to be sold short 136%, and for people to try to pile on and destroy a company in front of our eyes. That to me feels wrong. That feels pretty un-American, if you ask me. I think GameStop is a reasonable business. I think what they do is reasonable. And so the fact that they shouldn't be allowed to exist because all of a sudden, like, we decide that they should be obliterated into the ground.
No, they should be allowed to exist. They should be allowed to exist at whatever their stock should be valued at based on what their earnings are. And the stock was like
the free market
$17,
is telling you what it's
$18 not that long ago.
Who says that? Who says that? Do you want to make the same argument about Tesla? It's gone 10x in a few months.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. I think that there's no rule that says people can't overspend for something, right? Like,
Oh my God, Dave!
you're allowed to go buy a $2,000 pair of shoes if you want, even though
Is that guy kidding me? Chamath, I can't believe he kept his cool. If I was on there and he had the balls to say that he thinks there should be a cap on what it should trade at, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
All right, let's
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Like some
tell us.
stuff and won't participate in it. I still believe in a free market.
right,
Absolutely. How
let him continue.
dare you, CNBC? That pisses me off. I know my wife's going to come in a minute, tell me to calm down because my kids are in school outside. but like, how dare CNBC even float the concept that there should be some fundamental
artificial
cap,
magical
how dare they?
Like, what are you talking about? That's not how this works.
Are you kidding me? From a loser? Like, are you kidding? Like that? You want him? You want that guy sitting behind a chair at CNBC to set a range for what he thinks is appropriate based on earnings of a? Has he ever traded a stock in his life?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think the guys that are on CNBC, at least the anchors, I don't think they're allowed to trade stocks, right? It's kind of they work for like a big financial institution. They probably have to have either funds or money managers. I don't know if they actually trade.
They
I can't handle that. I'm sorry, Dave.
I know that Kramer has what do you call it? A charitable foundation, charitable trust, just because of that, so he can actually trade without being whatever the CNBC rules are. But yeah, this does continue for about another minute or so.
Okay, Dave, can I read this alert from TD before you play this? So TD sent. I have an alert from TD. Security impacts related to market conditions. This I might blow up after reading this. In the interest of mitigating risks for our company and clients, they're looking out for me. We have put in place several restrictions on some transactions in GME, AMC, my two stocks, and other securities. We made these decisions out of an abundance of caution.
What?
Amidst unprecedented market conditions.
But it's no longer a market anymore. You can't artificially say you can and cannot buy this.
I will sue the hell out of them if they even attempt to limit my ability to trade a stock in my account because they want to protect me. Are you kidding me?
Out of an abundance of caution.
And this is not even they're not even saying what they're doing. They're just saying that they're
some restrictions.
Putting in place. So what restrictions? What fucking restrictions are you putting on my account?
Yeah, I've seen some chats go through, and there's at least rumors of this that certain exchanges are doing this. Not exchanges, but
what restrictions? What do they mean?
I don't know. I don't know the details of that.
I'm checking to see if I have any alerts from Schwab other than
Plus,
1,000
let's
trade
say that
notifications.
you're already in the position like you were, and you're wanting to get out. Are they going to restrict that trade too? Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's insane. And by the way, it sounds like they already were because it took me an hour to sell 10 contracts of GameStop.
When I placed my trades earlier today on Schwab, when I was on the order screen, everything was loading fine because I was hearing, a bunch of my friends are on TD, all of you guys, and I heard that you guys were having problems, but I was able to log in. Everything was fine. It wasn't until I got to the actual order screen where when you actually hit submit and confirm your order, I got a screen that said, we're having difficulties, please submit your order again. And then I did that, and then finally it went through, and on the order confirmation page it said, we're also having problems, don't resubmit this order because you might submit the order twice. So I know that there is probably an actual technical meltdown situation happening at some of these brokerages, but they should be able to handle this. I mean, that's ridiculous. If they can't handle it, their infrastructure is fundamentally flawed.
Oh my God! What just happened? Wait, hold on. To my
I'm gonna let you hear another. It looks like we have a minute more of this CNBC clip from moments ago.
Good.
You don't think that Tesla's growth prospects?
Scott, I have my own model for the company. I'm allowed to underwrite however I want to own it. Everybody that bought that stock is also underwriting how they want to own it. And the point is, just because you're wrong doesn't mean you get to change the rules, especially when you were wrong, you got bailed out the last time. That's not fair.
Yeah, but doesn't mean that these investors who were short the stock were necessarily wrong. I mean, I still haven't heard you tell me what the fundamental case is for GameStop at 350 or AMC theaters, which have been closed.
None of
for
your
months and months and
business,
months,
dude.
Doesn't matter.
is worth what the stock's trading at now, or any number of these things. The way that they're trading, there's no fundamental reason why they're there.
There doesn't
I'm
have
not
to
a
be.
fundamental trader.
There doesn't have to be a fundamental reason. Exactly.
There's
I'm
this
not a
momentum
fundamental trader.
cohort behind it, whether it's on Reddit or Robinhood or wherever else.
But why,
God.
Scott, why is that all of a sudden so wrong to you, this kind of momentum trading? Because, for example, if you look under the hood on every quant strategy, organized, quantitative, strategic hedge funds on Wall Street, those things are all momentum shops. They trade day over day.
And that's the end of that clip.
Oh
Well,
my God. This guy, like, this is why.
This is why you can't watch CNBC. It drives you crazy. It drives me crazy.
I won't do it. I won't do it. I will never do. I can't do. By the way, some good news here. I just checked my account, guys.
Yeah.
It's in. It's in. The
You got
AMC's
it
in. I just
transferred
sold
over
half.
and sold.
I just sold half. I sold 50,000 shares of AMC at 15. Okay. I will get out of the rest of that position potentially over the next few hours, unless I feel that I want to hold some into tomorrow. But I've sold half, so that's locked in, $750,000 for the kids. Okay. No thanks to CNBC, who wouldn't have allowed me to make that trade. Okay. Unreal, dude. Unreal. I can't believe that they're going to try to force us to make a case for why we think it's okay for us to pay $300 for a stock. Or why it's, you're not allowed to buy GameStop at $20 billion unless you could make a case to me that it's worth $20 billion. If you can't make a case as to why it's worth $20 billion,
You're not allowed to do
you're
it.
You're just manipulating something. You're doing something illegal. Are you kidding me? Did they actually float that idea?
Well, that is
was his stance.
exactly what they're not floating. They're just saying it. They're saying you need to prove that there's some kind of fundamental reason that the stock is higher, and if you can't, you shouldn't be buying it.
You know what? Like, he's just pissed off that.
And
he's
that
not
is
part
just
of this.
like TD Ameritrade telling you, well, we're putting some limits on accounts in these specific stocks, and we're not going to tell you exactly what we've done. I saw some people say that it might be related to margin, which they absolutely can. They're taking a risk by letting you do something on margin, but if you're using your own money, there should be no limitation in your ability to transact through your brokerage.
Yeah, and I'm going to give some props to TD Ameritrade because, listen, they did a huge favor for me today. I said, listen, guys, can you expedite this thing? I'm moving into a foundation. I need to sell it. And this normally takes 2 to 3 days to get these shares transferred sometimes.
Yeah.
They did it in like 2 hours or less. Like, TD Ameritrade really came through today. And that's helping me lock in these gains for a good causes. So now I feel a little guilty. I was ripping on them earlier. But listen, if you're going to tell us that you're putting in restrictions, don't just send out a notice like that. Tell us, what are the restrictions? Should I be concerned?
Yeah.
Should I be irate?
Do I need
Should
to
I
know?
go insane?
Well, they need to frame it and say, what are the, so like if a stock does X within a certain amount of time, we're going to start saying like we're going to reject 5 out of every 7 trade. Like what are the rules that they're trying to put in, you know?
My thought is, Jordan, what I think would be reasonable, I think, and well within the law for them to do, and potentially even mandatory in some cases. You know, when you apply for a brokerage account, you have to explain what type of investor you are. Are you an investor for long-term gains? Are you a speculative investor? Like you have to fill out that report, and that's so that the broker has a risk assessment profile of each of the accounts that they manage. Now, if you say that I'm an investor that's looking to preserve capital, and you're throwing all of your account into YOLO GameStop options, it is, I think, within their right, and probably legally they have to say, you know what, that is not in alignment with what you told us you were doing. Because even though these online brokers, and people don't realize this, even though the online brokers don't manage your money, they are still legally liable, right, for what you do in that account if it's outside the spectrum for the type of investor that you said you were. That's why it's incredibly important for you to complete that accuracy. Now, when I fill out that form, I'm
most aggressive,
I'm the
speculative
most aggressive investor out
you've
of
ever
the
met.
80 million accounts that you have.
Yeah.
I'm so speculative, I am looking to YOLO every day. I mean, listen, you know what I
If
mean,
YOLO
right?
was a box on that
No, but
form,
to even
you
YOLO.
would check.
trade
YOLO.
options, like you have to tell them that you understand how to do it, and you have to go through these disclosures and things like that.
Yeah, I'm like 20 years ago, I was getting cash advances from my credit cards when I had no money and I was working at a car dealership, taking those cash advances to buy stocks on margin or out of the money puts and calls. When I say out of the money, I'm talking like 100% out of the money, because like every trade had to be able to make 100x for me when I was 22 years old. Otherwise, I had zero interest in it.
And that's why the brokerage should say, if they're actually doing their job, they should say, yeah, application rejected.
Yeah. So,
Okay, I do have another clip from that same interview. This is the very beginning where he talks about actually closing out his GameStop position this morning.
wanna hear
if you
this.
want to listen to this. So this is just about under 3 minutes, and we can pause and react if you want during it. But let me make sure I'm hitting the right button here. It would be this one, and here we go.
Next guest, he tweeted on Tuesday that he'd gone long through call options. Chamath Palihapitiya is the CEO of Social Capital. He joins us now on the phone. Chamath, thank you for being here.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So you tweeted yesterday that you bought $115 calls in GameStop. Can you tell me what your position is as of this very moment?
Yeah. Can I tell you a little story before all of that, or no?
Why don't you tell me that first, and then we'll go from there.
So this morning I woke up after spending all last night in Wall Street Bets, reading about all of this stuff.
Sounds like someone I know.
I ended up closing up my position this morning, and I wanted to announce that I'm taking all the profits that I made, plus my original position. So I'm going to take $500,000, and I'm going to donate to the Barstool Fund for Small Businesses.
That's less than
But
half
I
what
really
I'm
wanna tell
donating.
you, beyond the $500,000 donation or
No, and all
the
his
money
gains.
that I invested, which
Oh.
is not a huge amount in the grand scheme of that stock or the entire market. What I learned, because I think what I learned over the last couple of days is important for everybody that's watching CNBC.
And that is?
I think that what you're seeing is essentially a pushback against the establishment in a really important way. You have a lot of people, and I would encourage anybody who is dismissive of this thing to go into Wall Street Bets and actually just read the forums. And I think that you're going to see three kinds of posts. The first kind of content are a lot of people doing some incredible fundamental diligence on companies, trying to think about long-term value. And in my opinion, many of them are doing as good and frankly a better job than a lot of hedge fund analysts that I work with. That's number one. The second are a lot of people who believe that, coming out of 2008, what happened was Wall Street took an enormous amount of risk and they left retail as the bag holder. And a lot of these kids were in grade school and high school when that happened. They lost their homes, their parents lost their jobs, and they've always wondered, why did those folks get bailed out for taking enormous amounts of risk and nobody helped and showed up to help my family? And then the third thing is a realization that instead of having idea dinners or, quiet whispered conversations amongst hedge funds in the Hamptons, these kids have the courage to do it transparently in a forum. And I'm not saying all of it is perfect by any means, but I think it takes an enormous amount of faith in the system to be that transparent, to talk about things, and then for each individual to make their own mind up and to do things, whether it's to buy and to sell.
Yeah.
He's forgetting one really important. I agree with most of that. And by the way, we've been saying we've been talking about this for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
This is Dumb Money. This is our Discord channel. The work that's being done in our Discord channel at Dumb Money crushes anything that I've seen in the 5 years I spent basically educating and consulting some of the largest hedge funds and largest investment bank research shops on Wall Street when it comes to social research and narrative-based investing. Like the work in the Dumb Money Discord it just crushes it. there's only a small handful of people I really respect that I worked with over the years on Wall Street that I think are at the level or above the level that some of these people are at inside of our Discord. And we've always said that. But what's even more important is that whatever money is lost in this experience, so like Jordan, you're saying some people are going to get crushed. And yes, there are some people that are and I put a tweet about this that have gambling issues, and their gambling issues are going to kind of come into the market, right? And they're doing stupid things, but lessons will be learned, and every dollar that is lost, people will walk away smarter, okay? And if you're 22 years old and you get crushed in this market, if the SPACs implode, or if you're on the wrong side of the GameStop trade, or the wrong side of the AMC trade, and maybe you lose $2,000 or $500 or $5,000 or $10,000, whatever it is, you're 22. You're going to be investing for the next 30 years of your life. And instead of investing with $2,000 20 years from now, you'll be investing with $200,000 or maybe even $2 million, okay? The lessons you learn early on in your investment experience, right, are so critical because they're harsh lessons that you could sometimes only learn by losing actual money. And then later on in your investment career, right, where we are today, when you're not investing $5,000 or $500, but you're investing 20, 30, 40 million like we are, you now have that wisdom. And it's the best learnings I've ever had came from myself losing money. And you can't take that away from someone. People need that experience. They need the experience. And I understand that 1 in a million or 1 in 10 million are going to go overboard, right? And they're going to invest all their family's money in a YOLO trade. Obviously, you're not supposed to do that. What are we going to do? We can't stop them from doing that, right? We can only try to help. That's why I put that tweet out there the other day about gambling and the addiction. And this is a real thing that we need to talk about. We need to look out for it in our friend groups, right? So if we had, listen, we have a pretty good group of friends and we're texting all day about stocks. We know the profile for each person in our friend group. And if we see someone going overboard, and there's someone that I can think of, we won't name him out, who does a bit of gambling in our friend group, right? If he starts to go overboard, and I had a conversation with this morning, I said, I won't call him by name. He was starting to get in on some of these, and I said, listen, I'll call him Joe. His name's not Joe. Joe, you gotta chill out, dude. You do realize that at any moment in time, this thing could turn around on you, and every dollar that you have invested in any of the stocks that we're talking about right now could easily retrace 80%. Realistically, 70, 80 to 90% from where they are right now. And he said, Chris, I know it's fun for me. I have it bucketed out. This is just a small bucket. It's like a bucket that he would ordinarily probably be betting on sports, right? He's like, I want to do it. I love it. I've done really well. He's had the best year of his life investing. He's like, I want to do that. Fine. That's a conversation that I wanted to have with him. And that's a conversation that we should all be having with our relatives, with our friends, with our coworkers. When they're like, hey, man, I'm YOLOing on GameStop. You should ask them, so it's not all your money, right? And just use your judgment skills, right? Use your judgment skills and have those conversations the same way you would with someone who's a gambling addict going to Atlantic City or Vegas every weekend, or who's just in a room alone betting on games, depressed half the time because they're betting their whole paycheck. It's no different. Those people exist, and we need to help them, right? But you can't stop one's ability to gamble. You can't say there's no more gambling in America. There's no more investing in America. Like if you're not affluent, if you're not worth $1 million, if you're not accredited, we're not even going to let you invest in the stock market. Could you imagine? Because that's what they're doing in the private markets. Oh, if you're not making $250,000 a year or worth over $1 million or whatever the number is, you can't be accredited. So you can't invest in an early stage company. You can't invest in a startup. No, we don't trust you with your money. You can go gamble it, but you can't invest in a startup. I'm not going to let that happen. By the way.
What? Huge ripoff, by the way.
What? I was trying to find this.
You can't invest in private. I mean, you kind of can, but you can't really invest.
No, you need to be accredited.
It's the biggest scam on the American public. It's the biggest fraud. It's the biggest thing that's contributing to our wealth divide in this country. In addition to people saying, you know what, you shouldn't be investing. You don't know what the hell you're doing, so don't open up a Robinhood account because we can't trust you with your money. You can't invest. You're going to get screwed. Just give it to me. Just give it to me so I can invest it for you. Take my, and 1 or 2%
take your
a year.
cut. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I was trying to find this quote I found a screen-on-screen version, but basically this is something that Chamath said during that interview. Let's look at Tesla. Who was right on Tesla? I will tell you who was right. Every single retail investor. I was right. Elon Musk was right. Let me tell you who was wrong. Every single hedge fund. And it doesn't get any more real than that, right? That is the exact argument that we've been making.
I could make that argument, guys, about 50 different trades I've made over the past 15 years. For those of you who don't know, like we've literally turned thousands of dollars into tens of millions by simply doing what Wall Street doesn't do. We see things that they don't see, right? We look in areas they don't look at, right? And by the way, there are some high conviction reports in our Discord right now. I can't wait. We're gonna do a show on them this week. By the way, they're not EV, Dave. They're not EV related.
Oh, good.
But
Good.
Our Discord is finding some super cool stuff. Are you gonna put him on again?
This is someone who filmed their TV getting that quote, but I just wanted you guys to hear it because it's probably my favorite thing that I've heard all day.
Who was right on Tesla? I'll tell you who was right. Every single retail investor. I was right. Elon Musk was right. Let me tell you who was wrong. Every single hedge fund. Name after name when it comes to innovation, when it comes to growth, when it comes to people trying to do fundamentally useful things in the world. If it doesn't fit into the mold that Wall Street wants, they try to organize against it.
Yeah. And that's our point.
And listen, I will tell you right now, like I said, we spent close to 5 years all day just doing nothing but meeting with every top hedge fund in the world, quant fund in the world. There are a handful that are freaking spectacular, by the way. But the majority of them, the vast majority of them, and the sell-side analysts who work at the big banks that we work closely with, I love the people, great people, kind people, well-intentioned, hardworking, but they're part of an institution that just doesn't incentivize them to succeed and just doesn't allow them to be great at what they do because it puts them in a box where they really can't succeed. And he's right. It's an institutional deficiency that exists on Wall Street that it does not allow them to look in the areas that we look for trades, to make the types of decisions that we make based on the type of information that we see. I can't tell you how many times I literally took our software, Jordan, and I fed them the most golden information in the world, and they were like, Chris, this is so cool. We're going to now send this to our fundamental shop and have our technical shop. And like in 2 or 3 weeks, we'll try to figure out how much of our decision-making process will be based on just that information. I'm like, this is the only information that matters. It's it. This is the only. I am telling you that Netflix had a show called Stranger Things that is broadening the user base for Netflix, unlike the company has ever seen in the history of Netflix since they launched. I have never seen social conversation in the 5 years I've been monitoring Netflix social conversation like I have for this show Stranger Things. And they're like, that is awesome. We'll take a look at it. None of them traded it.
All right, Chris,
Biggest day in the
we got
history
some
of Netflix.
news on Nokia.
What's happened to Nokia?
All right, so
What do you
Nokia, they halted it for news. And the news is basically just that Nokia came out and said that they're not aware of any material undisclosed corporate developments or change in its business affairs that has been not been publicly disclosed. So they're just saying, we don't know what's going on with our stock, but it's nothing.
We don't know. Yeah.
Hey, Dave, I have an important question for you. Did you, someone was asking, I did tweet out that I really needed my weighted blanket the last few nights to fall asleep with all the anxiety and stress.
Oh, yes.
And they're asking, what kind of weighted blanket did I use? Now, I recently had Dave buy this. Did you get it? Do you
Yes.
like it? And do you remember what it's called so you can share it? Because I'm addicted.
You know how I am. I actually bought 4 different ones from Amazon, and I bought the branded gravity blanket. I bought a couple of the Amazon off brands, and I bought the one that you wanted. I didn't like the color it came in, but I found an identical. It's another just random off brand. But you got the child size, which was like a 10-pound, and then based on my weight, I thought I needed a 20-pound. So I tried different versions. And I'm in the process of returning everything except for the one that I like the best. And for me, it was the child size 10-pound one that you recommended. So it's just the right size.
Yep.
I can use it in the media room. Now, I will tell you that the quality of the branded gravity blanket, the exterior quality, I love the way that one feels so much more, almost to the point where I wanted to keep it, but it was too heavy for me and I couldn't, and it was actually the lightest that they made. So for that size, I guess they only have one size, and it was a 20-pound and they have 25 and 30. it was too much for me. So
Dave, I'm going to have to look at the one you got that I said, because like the one I have, I love the quality of it, the fabric.
I did it first until I felt the gravity blanket. And yours, like pretty much all the off brands, they have these like knob kind of bump circle pattern, polka dot kind of pattern on one side and smooth on the other. The gravity blanket one has a much more refined, nice. I have it now. I'll bring it to the show tomorrow.
See, I can't do these things. I would feel like I'm claustrophobic, so I would feel like I was.
No. Dave, explain to
feels-
Jordan why he won't on this one.
Because it feels like a hug, a warm hug.
I don't like.
No. Better than that, though, Jordan. It's
That's
so
what the marketing
small.
material says.
It's so small. It barely goes over. It's only, Dave. What is it? 4 feet by 2.5 feet.
Yeah, the child one. It's 60 inches by 40 inches was one of them. I can't remember. I basically had them all. I tried them for different nights, multiple nights at a time. I actually had 5 because Megan bought one too. So I have gone through 5 different ones, and I've decided that for me, the small size, which is like a twin bed size, at 10 pounds, which does cover your body, but it's not
Do you know the
suffocating.
brand, Dave? By the way, if you YOLO trade 10% of your account every day, you need one of these to sleep at night. I'm just letting you know. Like I will not sleep without this weighted blanket. I cannot sleep without the weighted blanket.
Let me pull up my orders.
Pull it up, and then we got to cut this episode. It's going a little long, guys.
It's a little.
So, okay. Guys, we will be back, though. I sold half of my position in AMC. It's in the foundation. I kept the other half. I just want to process this before I sell the other half. I'm having some anxiety about getting rid of all of it now. I told you I was going to sell the whole thing. I only sold half. What do you think I should do? Should I hold the other half to tomorrow? Should we see where this is going? I got to get in Wall Street Bets. Jordan, could you help me out on the data side to see if these things are maintaining volume of chatter, especially with AMC? Like,
it is so far. I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, let's keep an eye on it. Guys, we're not financial advisors. Make your own decisions. Do your own research. This is unprecedented. There's really no playbook for how it plays out over the next few hours to few days. We think it's going to end not well, but there's really no playbook for it. It's really just a matter of, are more people getting in this game? Or are people going to start to take out profits? Who knows? There could be a single billionaire in China that's like, you know what? I'm going to push this thing. I'm going to push it. I don't care if I lose $1 billion. I'm going to push it as hard as I can. I'm going to see if I can get this baby to 1,000 for GameStop. Who knows? That could be happening as we speak. You just don't know who's on either side of this trade and what their strategy is. You don't know how strong the hands are. Are they diamond hands or are they paper hands on the GameStop trade? Or are they diamond hands that turn into paper hands like mine just did on AMC? Because I'm not going to lose that money for the kids now that I know it's in the foundation. I can't do it.
People are not happy with your paper hands, by the way, Chris.
You got
they are
half
not happy.
Yeah, you need to change your Twitter handle to paper hands.
I kind of like the diamond hands, though. It is what it is.
For those of you who are curious, Relax Blanket is the brand that I kept. It was actually the cheapest one, and the 60-inch by 40-inch was the kid size version, which is perfect. This is the cover, which you buy separately from the actual inside blanket, which is this 10
The last
pound
one looked like a baby blanket.
for 30.
Wait, Dave, that's not the right one. Wait, does yours have little loops on the inside that connects to?
Yes,
okay,
it has 3 loops on each side, and it ties into place, so it holds it. This is the one you want.
Ooh,
that's it.
That looks like a baby blanket.
It is.
It basically is.
It's a beautiful thing.
I can't
It's
roll
great.
like that.
It's great.
But it's just the perfect amount of weight to ease your anxiety through these difficult market times.
I sleep like a baby.
Okay, so by the way, I made a prediction. I had a goal that I put out there on our last Wall Street Bets episode. It sounded outlandish at the time, remember? What did I say? I said this year, 2021, my goal is to make $5 million from Wall Street Bets this year, okay? At the time, I had made 0, pretty much. As of this moment, I think I'm at about 1.7 million in the last few days. That's how much I'm up on Wall Street Bet between my GameStop.
I know you're gonna hit this goal, and I have just tiptoed into the whole Wall Street Bets arena with my under the radar Fizz and what's the other one? KOSS.
Oh, that's a nutty one, Dave.
Which is-
I can't believe you got in.
You told
I'm in
me.
it too. I'm
You
in
told me
too.
about
It's a
it. You
nutty
told
one.
me you bought it right before, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just buy whatever Chris just did, so that I can. It's a YOLO, and I didn't put money that I wouldn't be willing to put on a roulette wheel. Really,
I
that's it.
have a real trade I'm actually making right now that I will talk to you guys about later.
I mean, I basically put $100,000 in each of those, and that's my roulette wheel.
I don't
We'll
have
see
a
what
roulette
happens.
wheel. That's not how I operate. So you guys, I'll just have fun watching you guys.
That is definitely not how Jordan McClain operates. No freaking way.
So for all of the new people to the channel, because I know that we have a lot of people watching right now. If you're new and you haven't yet subscribed, this is something that we do. We've been doing it every day. You might want to just hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. We're not going to talk about Wall Street bets every day, but we do talk about the stock market every day, or at least a couple times a week. And we do it live, and you never know until the last minute when we're going to do it. So subscribe.
But why should they subscribe to it? Because listen, we did 25 million last year. I think at this point we have a shot at doing another 25 million in trading profits this year in our accounts. And we're going to share every one of those with you. By the way, the losses as well. We get slaughtered on some of these. We misjudge them, and we collaborate with you guys. Join our Discord community. We don't charge money for anything, right, guys? We don't have sponsors. We don't have like a paid room. We don't do seminars. We don't have courses. We don't do any of that. All we ask for is really polite collaboration with the community. Let's help each other out. Help make our trading better, right? Like, help us surface opportunities. We'll help you guys surface opportunities. Let's vet opportunities together. That's what this channel is all about. They call us dumb money because we are not on Wall Street, and they think we're dumb money. And you know what? We're going to wear that badge with honor. Call us dumb money if you want.
We're proud to be dumb
money. We're going
money.
to slaughter you. We're going to slaughter your returns, Wall Street. We have for 15 years, and we're going to do it again this year. So please subscribe, guys.
And with that, we will say thanks for watching today. We are Dumb Money. We will see you right back here tomorrow, I think. Are we doing one tomorrow?
Of course we're doing one tomorrow, dude.
Okay, see you then.